Well, welcome. It is Wednesday night, and you are watching the Coach's Show. I'm John Pope.
Stevie Ray.
Coach Talbert.
See, he's got it, man. He's got
Right
it.
in
So,
there.
Boomer Sooner, Coach, how you doing?
I'm good.
Boomer.
Yeah.
No, you still won't say it. So,
no,
hey,
not this week.
yeah. So big week. This week we how's it been practicing in the rain all week?
Oh, it was awesome today. Today was I told our players, remember this one because these are the practices that make football fun, in my opinion. I mean, it's pouring down rain. We're out there in three inches of mud, so it was a lot of fun.
Makes it memorable.
Yeah.
So I want to start off real quick. We had conference honors come out today, conference awards. Slammin', you got it on your phone.
I've actually got a sheet here.
You got it printed out.
Because I
You emailed it to me today, so I appreciate it.
Yeah, do you need a copy?
Do you have one?
I do.
Man, look at him.
Well, hey, look at that.
So you want to go and start us off? This is a big group of kids here, you want to go ahead and start off with from the top?
From the top, our player of the or offensive player of the year, or was that just player of the year period, Coach?
No, offensive player.
Offensive player of the year, J.J. O'Neal. So
yeah, and I don't think that's a big surprise.
Not to me.
Not to me. Surely not to Coach. So
No, definitely not to me either.
Guy that deserves that award and has been a huge playmaker for us for several years now. So congratulations, JoJo Wildcat. So
yeah.
And then also first team all conference quarterback is J.J. O'Neal again. And once again, not a huge surprise. Keegan Daniels, I love seeing this. I saw this name today when you sent me that, or when we were looking at the awards. He's first team tackle, all conference tackle. So
yeah, and that's one that you can kind of look at and say, well, he only has played in 3 games, so that's half of our conference games, and so you nominate him and explain that he's played extremely well and is a big physical tackle, and that just shows the amount of notice that he got from the coaches in the room, that they felt that highly of him after 3 games that they voted him first team.
Yeah, I was surprised of that just by his being out with his injury, but great job by him, and I know that he's a huge force on that offensive line for us.
yeah, and he was I'm sure he appreciates this award way more than the Hometown Furniture Athlete of the Week, but he just come in, he had came in from injury and pretty much took over where he left off and just a dominating force there for us on the line. Hey guys, this is your time too as we're going over these awards. If you've got a question for Coach Talbert or Slammin' or myself, hit us up, comment on there, and we'll ask Coach Talbert whatever question you ask. So let's keep going down the list. Second team, all-conference running back, the deputy.
Yeah, and I was a little surprised there that he wasn't higher, but I know, there's also we had some stiff competition from Aurora. Did Aurora's running back get first team?
Yeah, they were. I think both of their guys were first team. Both Ian Jackson, their fullback, number 2, who just ate us alive, and then Cole Roman, number 4. I think both those guys were above Caleb. So, as far as I'm concerned, he was, right there up there with those guys, and I think that's a really good award for him. Obviously we'd love to see him first team, but considering the backs that we had in the conference, I think, one of the other ones that was recognized was Blake Russell, who struggled a little bit against us, but still I think managed to have, 80, 90 yards against us. So when you're talking about a kid struggled for the night with 80 or 90 yards, that's, he's a pretty talented back. That was number 17 for Hollister.
Yeah, and Caleb's a redshirt sophomore, actually, if you think about it, because, he was out all year last year. We know he's a junior. I'm just messing around, but he was out all year last year. Didn't play football one down, did he?
No.
So to come in and contribute to the team and to earn second team all conference, that's amazing. So
we need to have like a tough man award because he would have to be the tough man of the year award.
Yeah, we need the all conference big hit award.
Yeah.
So go ahead and on.
Yeah, and moving down there, got Logan Cook, is better known as Cookie. at wide receiver. So,
yeah, again,
congratulations to him.
That's a well-deserved award for him. I mean, the other receivers in the conference, had some pretty good numbers, and that's not what we do a whole lot of right now, especially with JJ at quarterback. And then when Logan was playing some quarterback last week, we were very much a read option team, and so for him to get a second team and Cody to get a second team, that was a big deal for us. Sorry, I jumped the gun on that.
Yeah,
that's all right.
That's fine. Cody, Rasmussen is next with we call him Lil Muffin, second team all conference wide receiver. So,
and man, I would go back and say with Cody, and Coach, you can be sure and correct me if I'm wrong, but I know the last 2 games, big games, and I think we could go back and say at least the last 3 games that Cody has had big games.
Yeah, he definitely showed. I mean, that's what got him onto a second team list there, in my opinion, the last 3 games. So he's had a tremendous run this last little bit in conference, and that's a good award for him. Super proud of him.
Yeah, we got tight end Tanner Peterson. He's second team all conference as well, and he's been that player that's fun to watch. It seems like he comes up with big catches for us when we need them.
Yeah, so I think Tanner only had 7 or 8 catches so far on the season, but he's averaging 36.4 yards per reception. So that kind of tells you, Tanner's been our big play guy and consistently has gotten behind and catches the ball when he gets behind. And we started using him. I don't know, how much people notice, but started using him as a hand on the ground tight end about 2 weeks ago, and he's lined up as a Y, which is our tight end, but he's flexed out. And so, people may not recognize him as a tight end, but we started actually using him with this hand on the ground. So, yeah, I mean, great spot for him. And he was behind the tight end, number 86, that didn't play against us for Marshfield. That's an outstanding receiver. So,
yeah, and then you got big Carson Cones, second team all conference for guard.
Goose.
Yeah, the Goose. I mean, he definitely deserves that award and the recognition. And I put him up as at the top of any of the linemen in our conference. And you got to look. They break it down by position and a couple other guards. Narvarez kid from Hollister, I think, was on there. I can't remember the other guard in the conference, but man, that's an elite group, and Carson should definitely be proud to be up in that top 4 of that group.
For sure. And moving on to honorable mention, we had Luke Hauer. Hauer Power at running back for us.
Yeah, Luke has come on extremely well lately, and it's one of those things you got to spread the ball around as much as you can, and sometimes you ride the hot hand, and I think Luke being an honorable mention guy kind of is a tip of the hat to how well Caleb Cole played for several weeks, and so but Luke, man, he stepped in last week and the week before, and just kind of a contrasting style. Although Caleb's a big physical back, Caleb's is a cutback guy, and Luke is a shoulders downhill guy, and so to be able to have that contrasting style helps us out a lot.
Name on here, I'm excited to see Calvin Chaney at tackle. We lost him a few weeks ago to an injury. And he has been, you said it on a show, and I've seen it, from time to time. That didn't stop him from being the heart of this team at all.
Yeah, Calvin's been out at practice on his little cart that he's got, and you can just see how much he loved it, and I was glad to be able to get him on this list, and I think he deserved it. The half or 3 drives that he had against Springfield Catholic may have been one of the better high school football games I've seen out of a tackle. He was physically dominant, and it's a shame he got hurt in that game, but I think he's well deserving of that award.
And I think someone, barring injury, that we would have mentioned way up the list here.
Yes. Oh yeah, I agree.
So then we come down to Davin Agee for guard. And Coach, you mentioned a few weeks ago about Davin that one of the kind of the unsung heroes on the defensive side. You said you got to watching film and how, man, he was really, working hard and getting doing a great job for us on that line.
Yeah, Davin's been all over the place, and honorable mention guard, and I think he's every bit deserving of that honor and maybe a little bit higher. He's a physical player. He's done an outstanding job of really developing into a guy that we can trust, and that we want to run behind. And so we're excited to have him back next year. And I think next year, barring any kind of injury or anything, I expect to see him up higher on that list for sure.
I definitely wouldn't want to be running in front of him.
No.
So, hey, and all-purpose, Patrick Comedo ends out the offensive side of the awards.
Yeah, and that's a tough award to get any kind of honor in because, the way those conference meetings work, a lot of times, a guy that doesn't make it on another list, for instance, a quarterback or a receiver or something that didn't get the honor that we thought they would, then we put them up for all-purpose. And Patrick was a guy that I had written on the ballot to start, and I mean he just had a tremendous year. It was you can't define all-purpose any better than what Patrick's done for our offense. Numbers wise, he's comparable with our running backs, and then receiving wise, he's comparable with our receivers, and then you get into what's he doing, when he's away from the ball, and that blocking is what's second to none with him right now, and just absolutely giving us a chance to get numbers somewhere by using Patrick in our blocking scheme.
One of my coworkers today, I was telling him, I was talking to him about Patrick. And I said, they've got it listed as all-purpose, that position. And I said, I'm not sure. That's the first time I had ran across it. But I said, it's very fitting for Patrick because you need a fullback. We got Patrick. You need a wide receiver. Hey, Patrick, go do that. You need a tight end. Hey, step down there and do that.
And a very, he's done that in such an unselfish way this year because, I think he's got a pretty good average when we hand him the ball. And there's a lot of games where we don't get him lined up in the backfield to get that handoff. It either goes to Caleb or it goes to Luke, and sometimes over the headset I'm having to remind Coach Bruffett, let's get the ball to Patrick somewhere tonight, and not taking away or saying anything bad about Coach Bruffett. He does a great job of making sure we're sharing it, but that's just kind of Patrick's role. I mean, just unselfish football, and I think. I was really excited that he got that honor on the offensive side.
Well, and he's also came up with, several times this season, that pass play where he's mowing people over for 20, 30 yards here and there. So,
yeah, fourth down play against Marshfield a couple weeks ago. Came across the middle and caught a ball, and then I think we actually went to fourth down on another series inside their 20, and Patrick ran the wrong route, but then got himself open and caught the ball. So I was proud of him.
And something you guys have both mentioned, that his blocking, man, is just
it's fun to watch. World. You see him heading out in front of the deputy, and it's funny because several times, you've seen the deputy with his hand on him just like this, and then those two as a pair are pretty amazing.
So then moving to defense, and we'll start off with the first team defense. We lead off with who we just left off with Patrick Comedo. And, I'll say, John, Coach, how many times this year has Patrick made a big hit that got our boys ignited on that defensive side? Yeah,
this was one of my when I opened up the list on the Ozone this morning and saw him at this position. It gave me a little smile because – that young man, we call him we say, hey, he's out there doing the Comedo flex, or, and it inspires us in the booth. But you can see your players just, they feed off that.
Yeah, we were in the locker room at Aurora, and I think we were down pretty big at halftime, and I went in and screamed probably more than I'm physically capable of ever doing again. And the message I kept talking about is who's going to be the guy. Who's going to be our guy that we can count on? Who's going to be, we talked about who's going to be that alpha guy or alpha male, or who's going to be the guy that steps up and becomes the undoubted leader. I mean, we had seen the previous year Zach Bergman and Riley Williams step into that role, and there was no question about it. I mean, those two guys defensively, when we needed a play, both of them were going to make a play. When Zach was out, Riley, stepped right into that role and embraced it and did a great job with it. But I say all that to say that Patrick embraced that role. And he told me after that Aurora game, Coach, I got the defense right in the second half. And he sure did. He said, I'm our Mike backer. I'm going to be our Mike backer, and I'm going to show you every day. And that's what he's done since then. Sometimes he does it a little untraditional, and we wish he would get in a little bit better stance and this, that, and the other, but he always seems to make the play. And so, Patrick's so deserving of this first team award and has been that guy defensively. And I look to him, over the next several weeks to be that guy to lead us.
Yeah, so moving on, our young DB there, Cameron Ray, also known as the Llama, and I think they've been announcing his name as the Llama. It's fun to see him here because we played a lot of sophomores this year that, and I don't know, how much time they would have got, but I imagine, maybe one of those games where we're up a bunch, they're getting in on a few series. We've had a ton of sophomores this year step up in roles, and it's been fun to watch Cameron. He had 5 interceptions in 3 games, and he's played an amazing role there. So good to see him first team.
No, I was really excited. I was excited about this one. That Cameron was kind of that, diamond in the rough, and he's athletic, and we've got quite a few sophomores like you talked about, and we know these guys are athletic, and we know they can play, and but where do they fit? And sometimes you don't find that fit till you're a junior or senior, and you're itching to get out there, and it just doesn't work out for you. You just maybe there's a guy that's playing the position, but we had a need, and I'm sitting there looking and saying, man, I got to get a kid that can, physically handle it. First of all, is big enough to handle it, and is athletic enough to do it. And then I've got to find a guy that's got the right mindset, that wants to hit people. And so, at first we were looking for defensive linemen, and we searched and we, looked at Brady Buckman. We looked at Cameron, and we started looking for defensive linemen, and lo and behold, we find a defensive end in Luke Hour. And not saying that Brady or Cameron didn't do the job that we needed them to do up there. Luke just kind of embraced it and ran with it. And so then, I'm like, okay, well, we're still missing a free safety, because we've got, a pretty good little free safety in JJ, but JJ's back there getting, beat up, and he's dragging his leg around. And so we, I'm like, well, what about Cam Ray? And our coaches in the office just kind of look at me, and it's just kind of a quiet room for a second. And I said, I'm going to throw Cameron Ray out there and see what he looks like tomorrow. And so, kudos to our coaches. They all backed me on it, and we're like, okay, you do what you do. You know what you're doing. And we throw him out there, and, first practice, within, I think, the first 15, 20 minutes of practice, we come over after individual period, and Coach Bruffett says, I think Cam can do it. I think he's going to be a natural at it. And, I don't think he had played free safety one lick prior to that. I mean, he was playing, linebacker and barely getting reps at linebacker. And so it's just one of those deals where it's the perfect opening at the perfect time and the perfect part of the season, and it just all fell in place. And then we throw him out there, and man, 3 games go by, and he's got 5 picks and an unlimited number of tackles and a couple big hits, and he just found his home on our team. Sometimes we find it as a freshman, sometimes we find it as a sophomore or junior, and he found it as a sophomore. And I don't think there was any doubt in any coach's mind in that all-conference meeting that he was deserving of a first team. I'm proud of him, and what an honor for a sophomore.
Yeah, and then moving on to second team, starting off with defensive tackle Davin Agee. So we talked a little bit earlier about him on the offensive side of things. So here he's got second team on the defense.
Yeah, Davin is a plugger. He's just a big, strong, physical football player, and I think Davin has taken what he's done in the weight room and his belief in lifting and the extras that he does working out. There's some genetics there too as well. I mean, he's a physical, big kid, and Caden, his younger brother, is going to be the same way. And but no, Davin's done a great job for us and played a lot of tackle whenever we were in our forefront. We've since moved to a 3-front, but every time we need a run stop, we're getting into that forefront, and Davin's leading the way, getting it done. And it seems like every time I sub him into the game, it's Davin AG on the tackle. So, very deserving of that second team award.
Second team linebacker, we got the deputy making the other side of the ball, or on the defensive side there.
Yeah, I think, given that there were some other really good linebackers in the room, and I don't want to speculate or say that a kid deserved to be first team when the coaches in the room voted him second team. So, but Caleb is behind a couple pretty good linebackers, but he's a first team caliber type of kid. And, I'm proud of him for getting second team this year. And I expect, that he'll be higher on that list next year. Just done a really, really good job. We knew we had something special early in the year, and we were real close to not playing him at all on defense, with just the shoulder problems that he had, but he convinced me otherwise. And, Ashley, our trainer, found a great brace for him, and he's managed to get it done over and over every week. And I think, he'll be one that they'll be writing about in preseason next year, at inside linebacker.
So honorable mention on the defense, Carson Cones.
Yeah, Carson's had a big year. Carson started the year at Mike linebacker, and I'm talking about all this stuff. You can see, I'm not very good at putting guys where they belong, I guess, early in the year during the summer. But Carson again found his home defensively at defensive end, and him and Luke turned our run defense completely around. And then, I'll not take away from Colby Ballou, who's done a really, really good job that, unfortunately wasn't on this list. But, between Colby and Carson and Luke and Davin Agee, it's been a thing to watch. And then now we've gotten healthy and we're throwing, Joey Anderson and Keegan Daniels back out there, and we're mixing in Brady Buckman, and it's just we got some depth at defensive line, but Carson's kind of led that way. And moving from Mike linebacker, sometimes you got to kind of swallow a little bit of pride to put your hand on the ground. But man, he's embraced it and had some huge hits throughout the year. I think Carson will be a heck of a whatever level he goes and plays in college. But he's going to be a good defensive lineman.
He's been very disruptive. I just want to throw that in. John and I have talked about that, on air, off air, but he's always got a hand in the play.
Yeah. And that's what's fun about our defensive unit, though, is we torment, and it was like Sugar Bear the other night. I'm like, you need to get a sack, man. But he did it was amazing how much he threw that quarterback off for reads. He couldn't plant his feet, couldn't make a proper throw because, there was Sugar Bear or someone else chasing after him. So moving on, honorable mention linebacker, there we go. We got Gavin White.
Yeah, Gavin's been, one of our bookend outside linebackers since, we moved to our 3-front and has embraced the role really, really well. Again, another guy that we kind of moved around to fit our system. And, I think that Gavin, had I had the foresight to see and be able to understand what we were going to be good at defensively, Gavin's numbers would be way through the roof. We've figured out some stuff defensively in the last, especially 2 games, of being able to pressure quarterback and like you're talking about, we use him a lot to do it, and he's in the backfield, a lot, and doesn't necessarily have the sacks, but their quarterback was on the run Friday night, and then the previous week, quarterback's having to dump the ball out of there way quicker than he wants to, and a lot of that is Gavin White. We use him off the edge a lot.
And then we finish up the honorable mention on the defensive side with Logan White that you coach is dubbed Swiss Army.
Yeah, Logan is he's gone into what we call our box safety, which is a strong safety, traditional strong safety. But we had changed so much stuff, I didn't want guys confused, so we came up with a different name for it. And box safety stuck, and Logan's owned that role. He's a flat player a lot of the time. We're rolled down into cover 3 with him, and he plays up close to the line of scrimmage and is a physical run defender. And then you never have to worry about pulling him out and playing cover 4 or telling him, hey, you got a man on a receiver. Just a really versatile defensive back for us. Can come up and defend the run with the best of them and cover just about anybody on the field. And so, Logan's been a big contributor to what we've been able to do defensively. I think he had his best game against Hollister. It's a pretty impressive game. He had several big tackles right at the line of scrimmage, and when you've got one of your safeties making a tackle at -1 yard and you're not giving up deep balls in the pass game, something's going right.
That's right.
He's fun to watch.
He is. Yeah. I mean, he's almost, like you said, Swiss Army utility. So first team all conference on the specialist kicker, Pistol Pringer.
Yeah, Tayson had a tremendous year kicking the ball, and still having a tremendous year. He hasn't missed an extra point. I can't remember what it was, 28 of 28, I think was the number. Has hit 2 really nice field goals, and just has had a tremendous year as a kicker, especially for a sophomore, and is very deserving of that first team award. It's one of those deals where you can't nominate 2 kickers, but I wouldn't be doing my job if I wouldn't mention the job that Brady came in and did when Tayson was out. And, just to be able to have 2 guys in your program that can do that. And there's a lot of schools that would do anything just to have one of those guys. And I would say most of the schools in the conference would do anything to have either one of those guys as a kicker. And we got them both back there doing it now. So
I think we talked really about that during a game one time. We said, Pringer, he's just a great kicker. And then you had Buckman filling in for him while, Pringer was out. Most schools, like you said, they don't even have one kicker, and here we have 2, exceptional kickers. So
yeah, and
quite blessed.
He probably has a few more field goals if we're not, rolling the dice. Sometimes you just get a confidence in your offense, and we roll the dice inside the red zone sometimes, and we've got all the confidence in the world he's going to put it through. And man, what a nice feeling to be able to know that you're going to walk off the field with points instead of nothing.
Yeah.
And just a side note there, he keeps that position in the family.
Yeah, he does.
So, of course, his brother Peyton last year, was also
phenomenal
named on there. So, got returner J.J. O'Neal.
That one surprises me. We always say every time they line up to kick, wonder if they're going to kick to JJ, and usually they try not to.
Yeah, JJ being JJ today, whenever he saw the list, he said, I don't know how I was first team returner. I said, JJ, you had 36-yard average on kickoff.
Yeah, I was going to say.
So just understand what's going on.
Yeah.
But no, I think he only returned 8 kicks, on kickoff, and then had 7 or 8 punt returns. But every one of them, everyone in the stadium holds their breath, and he changed the momentum in a couple different games with a big kickoff return, and unfortunately to this point in the season hasn't had that big one where he's been able to completely break loose and score a touchdown, although he's been pretty dang close and gotten to that last defender several different times. So we're hopeful that JJ gets him another kick to him and has an opportunity to return one.
Then we're going to end out the list with second team all conference for specialists, punter, J.J. O'Neal.
Yeah, and this is another one where, at the beginning of the year, you've got 2 punters and you've got a quarterback with a banged-up leg, and Tayson did an outstanding job while JJ's leg was bothering him and he wasn't able to punt. But, JJ comes back in there when Tayson's back starts bothering him, and Tayson's sitting out, and I think he has a couple 60-yard punts and winds up with a over 40-yard average on punt. And that's that is such a big deal. Field position with the way our defense is playing right now, when you can reverse the field on somebody with a punt, that's huge. So, very deserving of that. I think had he not been dealing with, his leg injury like he had and had a few more punts, I think he's a no-brainer first-team punter. But I understand where that was. So
he just draws so much attention. I mean, you can't coach against him and not say, watch this guy. He's dangerous.
Yeah, anytime there's open space, anytime, we always joke, anytime he bobbles the ball at all, we're like, oh, watch out. I don't know what it is, but when he bobbles the ball, he's off for 40, 50 yards or a touchdown. So,
yeah, so I was pretty happy with that list. I feel like that's a good representation of what we do. Mason Grable, I felt like has to this point had a tremendous year at center. But there's some really good centers in the conference, and that's a really hard position to get on a list when you've got one guy. It's like the quarterback position. There's only 3 of them, and you got 6 teams in the conference, and you got some pretty good centers. And then another guy that I feel like I want to talk about and make sure he gets the recognition has been Clay Palin, and we've done a great job of talking about Clay, on the show here, but. First year of football came out and has really owned that outside linebacker position and, has kind of played a hybrid safety all year. So that's, a difficult thing for him. And then I talked about Colby Ballou as well. Another guy that I think is very deserving of an award. And, it's, just unfortunately you just run out of numbers of guys that you can throw on that list. But, I would make sure I wouldn't be doing my job if I didn't mention those 3 guys as well.
So I want to kind of move on to a question, and it kind of sums up. I mean, we had our last regular season game last week against Reeds at home. And honestly, what was the score? Did you
45-7?
45-7. Okay. Sorry, I went blank there. But my question is, if there was an award for a team turnaround, and not that we had a bad team in the first 3 games, it was just like, it seemed like we had all the injuries, and then finding those players to fit those spots, like you were saying with, the Llama and Colby and, those younger players. Man, it has been amazing to watch them, over this last 7 game. We're on a 7-game win streak right now.
6 games.
6 games. Sorry. Well, I'm sorry, thinking ahead, but
I'm not going to think ahead. Not after last year. No.
But we're on a 6-game win streak. The first 3 we expected to win, and then I talked to numerous people that said, man, I just hope we win 1 out of those last 3 games. And we've dominated. We're a different team. What do you chalk the success up, to the way we are now? What's the success? How do we get there?
I think it's twofold. I think we've got to do a better job, me specifically, of getting our guys ready to play. And we'll go back this winter and spring and make sure that we're doing everything we can do to have the guys in the right position. And, those guys were there. We just had to find them. And then I think some of it goes into, I think something you guys talked about, after the Jamboree is finding leadership. That was something we knew we had to do. And sometimes it takes getting your back against a corner to find whether or not you're going to fight. And, I think we were pushed back in that corner pretty hard, and we had some guys that stood up and got in front of the crew and fought their way out of it. And, so I think that's a big part of our success. And this may seem stupid, and this may seem like a dumb answer, but I think our scout team at practice is a huge part of our success. We managed to find a way to make our scout team competitive. And it's a fight. Our guys are fighting to get out there to have an opportunity to play on scout team. And I've never coached in a program like that. I've been doing this. This is my 15th year of coaching, and I've never been in a program where you've got guys that are literally pushing each other out of the way so that they can get reps on what we call our outlaw defense or our renegade offense, which is just our scout team. And, if you want to look at where do we go from here and how's this season end up, guys, I don't know, but I do know this. I know we have as competitive group of football players as I've been around, and so I think a lot of our team success goes with some of those guys. Your Bo Thompson and Morgan Childress and Cameron Ray playing scout team, and Gavin White and Franklin Ray and some of those guys that don't get mentioned and you don't hear a whole lot about, but man, they're at practice and they're just doing everything they can do to either find some reps themselves or just help us get better. And it's happening every day in practice. Today, week 10 practice, pouring down rain, 3 inches of mud on the ground, and it's just no different. It's just like we're just out there trying to win. And man, what a deal.
I'm going to follow up on that real quick, Steve. Sorry. The personality too is, I mean, we have a team personality and we've had it for a while. And I'm not saying we didn't in the first couple games, but man, it is so apparent now. JJ was on the sideline last week, and who was it that missed the pass and we were giving him a hard time? Was it
Gavin White?
Gavin White.
No, I'm sorry, not Gavin White. Logan White.
Logan White. Yeah. And you could see JJ out there giving him a hard time, just because, he's on the sideline, he never quits, and a lot of I'm not saying just JJ, I'm saying our whole team, they never quit. They're out there cheering for each other. We have an amazing personality, of warriors really coming out there each week.
Yeah, and football's fun. And that was one of the things we, as coaches, we talked about this weekend. You got this all-conference list and, wish this kid would have got this and that kind of deal. And, you can't sit there and wish on it. You gotta just be so dang happy to be a part of what we've got. And that is, my comment to them was, hey, our kids are having fun playing football right now, and some of those other teams aren't. And that is a big deal and a big tribute to, our players and our coaches and our community, and everybody's made it something special for these guys. And they're out there trying to do everything they can to put the best product on the field.
It's fun to watch.
It's been great. I was talking to a guy today, and I said, those first 3 games, and we should have won a couple of those, if not all 3. And then we go into the next 3. And in fact, Coach, we talked about it briefly before we started. Those next 3 teams were having down seasons. So when we came into that Hollister game, we were kind of like, what do we got? And it was great to see. And John, that was what you had said, where people were saying, hope we win 1 out of the next 3, which was Hollister, Marshfield, and Reeds, that we have turned it around, and to use Rick Burney's quote, put the foot on the gas.
Yeah, and that's you get into that Hollister game, and I think our players, I don't know, they may be tired of hearing it by now, but every week, you've got to prove yourself, and this is the reason why. And at that point in the season, it was, well, you got to prove yourself. You haven't beaten a team with a winning record yet, and nobody expects that you're going to be able to win this game, and I just find it as a thrill whenever we get picked against, either in the newspaper or some whatever article picks against us, because I think that motivates our guys. And that's kind of been our mentality since week 4. We've got to prove ourselves again, and that was something we embraced so hard last year, and those guys did such a good job with. And I think we show up, and we kind of expected that we had arrived, and I'm as guilty as anybody. And I think at that point we got just demoralized at Aurora, and at that point it was like, hey, we got to prove ourselves. We got to prove who we are and what kind of character we have, and what kind of team we have, and our brotherhood and all this stuff we talk about. We've got to put our money where our mouth is, and we got to prove it. And we've just gradually gotten better every week. And I expect the same out of these guys, as we go into week 10, week 11, whatever else we have left.
I want to say, I think one of the examples maybe of last week's game that kind of shows where we're at is, we called it the longest 2 minutes before the half ever in a high school game last week. You and the the Reeds coach, I think we're playing a bit of a chess match there. We were up 26 points. They were trying to score, to go into the half. Our team did an amazing job of making those stops, to prevent them from going into the end zone. We go into the half 26-0.
Yeah, that's something we've worked on. And I've talked about it on this show. That's the before the half score and right after half score. That's a 14-point swing, and if you don't get stops, that changes the pace of the game. And we gave Marshfield life 2 weeks ago. We let them score right before half, and then they came out of the locker room, punched one in, did a good job. That was a 14-point swing. All of a sudden, a 35-7 game was a 35-21 game. But right before half, we're on our back in our own 5, and that's the confidence that Coach Bruffett is calling plays with right now. The confidence that he's got in our players. You could run that clock out and get out of the half, but that's not our identity. That's not what our kids recognize themselves as, and I don't know that we're capable of doing that. I know that's probably the smarter play, but our guys, they want to go, and that's what, for whatever reason, we've adopted that mentality, and hey, we're going to embrace it, and that's what we're going to do. And, I was extremely proud of our defense. We got not just one, but 2 defensive stops right there before halftime, and that shows some maturity, and, that's a good sign for our team.
Yeah, and that's what I was kind of alluding to, is that just that discipline, maturity of our team, because as a young high school player, you could look at that and say, well, we're up 26-0. What does it matter if they score 7? Man, you could tell they did not want Reeds in the end zone, at all costs. So, yeah,
because, you give up a score there and it's 26-7, and then you come back from halftime and they find a way to get in the end zone on a big play. You're up, 26-14, and it's a 2-score game.
Yep.
So, big stop there. Both of those stops were big stops. I think we had a pick, and then I don't remember the last one, maybe a sack or some sort of turnover there.
So, Coach, I may not be going in, sequence of the game, but we do an onside kick, which I believe was second quarter-ish.
Yeah.
And so what, I guess, kind of what goes through your mind? You got Brady Buckman, who, at least in the game, has never – kicked an onside kick, our replacement kicker. And, so you called the onside kick. I know the Llama had a big hit on that one. Sugar Bear, of course, is that, the guy on the end of the line. I'll say you may have a name for that. And ball takes a perfect bounce, and we recover that. But if you don't care to run through a little bit of that.
Yeah, that's a combination of a couple different things. The first thing you watch on film, and they have 4 guys on their front line, and traditionally you see 5 guys on the front line. And so, you got 4 guys on the front line, and then their guys are retreating, and that to me triggers onside kick, and that was something else, something that we saw on film last year, and we did the same thing last year, and it's just. That's just something that we're going to do. We see somebody with 4 guys on their front line, we're going to try to take advantage of it. And, Brady, first of all, don't even know that he can kick. And then, he tells me, oh, Coach, I can kick a little bit. And your eyes just kind of roll in the back of your head when a guy says that. But then, he puts the ball on the tee and kicks it, like he's been kicking it. And so it came to Thursday practice, and we hadn't practiced our onside, and this was 3 or 4 weeks ago. So we tee it up, and I have to show him how to tee it up, and he's trying to do it with his club, and
with his club.
So he gets it teed up, and he kicks the perfect onside. I'm like, oh well, that's beginner's luck. And then we kick it again. We get about 3 or 4 reps traditionally on Friday, and it's 4 straight perfect onsides, and I'm like, man, this kid just got the knack for that. So, you kind of put that in the back of your head, like, hey, if we need an onside, we got a kid that can kick an onside. And Tayson's pretty good at it, but then you see Brady, and it's like, so then the next week we come out. We always practice onside kick on Thursday. So next week he comes out, and it's perfect onside, perfect onside, perfect onside. And it's like, wow, this is pretty good. And so then, I knew we were going to run it against Reed Spring, and so we actually get to Thursday and we practice it, and Brady kicks it about 2 yards. So it's like, what's going on here, man? So anyhow, we give him a couple reps at it, and those perfect onsides come back, and he just has a knack for it. That's just something that, you're either good at it or you're not. And, he has the ability to put it right there where we want it. And Gavin made a great play, an effort play, which is what Gavin does. And, recovered it. And unfortunately only got a field goal out of that drive. But, it's a big momentum play for us.
Yeah, Gavin's not afraid to sacrifice the body.
Yeah, because, that ball was going out.
Yeah.
He got it right there at the sideline.
Yeah, laid out on it, and it was awesome.
We talked a little bit about, talked about Logan Cook, getting some, making, second team wide receiver, played a lot of quarterback for us Friday night and looked very good.
Yeah, Cook was our JV quarterback last year. Tayson was recovering from ACL surgery, and so Logan, got almost all the reps until the end of the year. And Logan's a very smooth little athlete back there. Not a real big guy, and he'd probably be upset. I mean, he doesn't have the greatest top end speed, but man, he's got a lot of quickness, and he's a smart and savvy little football player, and makes the reads. It's impressive watching him. And with JJ, we've built this offense that's centered around quarterback read game because of his ability. And Logan steps in and gives us the ability to continue to run that offense without really skipping a beat. And that's what we saw Friday when JJ was dealing with a little bit of a shoulder problem, and Cookie steps in and man, runs it pretty smooth, and gave us an opportunity to get out of the half and get a game plan going.
Yeah, and then go ahead.
I was just going to say, and at that point too, I don't remember what the score was when Cookie came in, but it was in the hand, so I felt like good too to give JJ a little rest. No reason to take a chance on anything. And one of the plays that I think if you were at the game or watched the game that you've got to talk about is what would have been in the third quarter, I guess, when he scrambled to our sideline, has a defender hanging on him, somehow gets the ball off to Cody, and excellent catch by Cody, who then goes and scores a touchdown.
Yeah, he put it in the only place that Cody could go get it, and the D-back couldn't get it, and it was on the run, falling out of bounds, and probably not the most advised throw, but we watched that young man play last year on our JV, and we saw those plays over and over and over and over. I mean, it was ridiculous, some of the stuff he was doing, and we called it the cookie train, all aboard the cookie train, and we just had so much fun with it. And I was proud of him for stepping in on a week's worth of practice, and like we said, we had Tayson coming back from a lower back that was bothering him and hadn't had a whole lot of practice, and just to be able to have a third guy in there. I mean, we got down to second and third string quarterback in that game, and that's a tribute to Coach Bruffett getting those quarterbacks ready to play. It was impressive to watch.
Yeah, and then you also had Pringer come on there, in the second half and did a tremendous job. How fortunate are we to have three quarterbacks that would probably start in most schools they go to?
Yeah, it's a great deal for us. Gives us a lot of confidence, and our quarterback takes a lot of abuse in our offense, and we're going to ask our quarterbacks to always run and always be able to run the read game, and those three guys are very similar. They each have their own talents and their own abilities, and so it gives us the ability if one thing's working better than the other to go with that, but just to have that depth at that position, I mean, it's just like the offensive line. Those are two positions that you're going to have to use your depth at some point in the season. And, I think we've done a good job with both groups being able to do that this year. And that may honestly, we've had some talented groups in the past, when we had Kraft and Bergman and Adam Waters and those guys playing. We had Andrew Sell on the offensive line, but we didn't have a whole lot of depth at that point. And so we were, a couple injuries away from being able to field a good team. And, this year we've dealt with those injuries and we've had good players step in behind them. So, that shows a lot of growth in what we're doing, and really makes me feel good because it's I feel like that's showing our maturity and our ability and our work in the weight room in the off season to have guys behind them that can play at that level.
So, John, did you have anything else on Reeds that you want to throw out?
I didn't know. I mean, it is, when you get to this point, and once again, I'm going to say it, every week we get a little more, I say this is a complete team, and then we do better the next week. This is a complete team. We're playing our best ball when it matters, and that's exciting.
Yeah, I think like I said, we've improved every week, and we just keep getting better, and I expect nothing less. And I think that our players expect nothing less. We, at this point in the season last year, we're just so excited and just, elated to have that winning record and to be in a position where we had won 7 games. And I think we kind of let the mentality slip a little bit in the last couple of weeks. We went and we beat a Reed Spring team and, felt good about that win, but I don't know that we necessarily got better that week. And then the following week, I don't think we got better. And I'm here to tell you, we've gotten better both days this week, and we're going to get better tomorrow, and we're going to play with that kind of energy Friday.
So to kind of lead into this Friday's game, I was at the local grocery store Saturday morning, and I ran into a guy that we've nicknamed Honey Bun, Joey Anderson, and I said, "Hey, Joey, when you going to be back?" And he said, "This week." So
so we've got old Honey Bun. Joey was that was a tough pill to swallow at the Aurora game when he got injured. He's just personality wise, he's one of the guys that's helped develop the personality of the team, and it's hard to be involved in that when you're not in the huddle. And he stayed with it and got himself healthy, and we're really excited about having him back. I kind of like Honey Bun. I think it's a good nickname. I don't know where that one originated. I've just recently, we've got JoJo Wildcat, and so I started calling him because his name is Joey. He's JoJo Two Cakes, and yeah, and JoJo Two Cakes. There's a story behind that, but we've got the pancake stickers on our helmet, and all of our offensive linemen got their helmet all filled up on the back, and Joey, he's just rocking 2 cakes right now.
A guy that would no doubt be somewhere on this list, all-conference list.
Oh, absolutely. So. And so it's been fun, having him back and picking at him at practice this week.
And then I guess we've got Jess Haynes, which we've kind of dubbed behind the scenes Haynes of Steel.
Yeah, that's a good nickname, Haynes of Steel. And Jess is, I've never seen a kid work as hard as he's worked over an injury. And if sometimes if you talk to Ashley, she's worried that he's worked himself too hard. But man, he's come back in shape, and for an offensive lineman, that's hard to do, to be able to sit out, especially with the lower leg injury not a lower leg injury, but a leg injury, and be able to stay in shape. But he's in great shape, and he's eager to get out there and prove himself, and knows that his clock's running out as a senior. And so I'm so excited that he's getting an opportunity to come back, in an elimination game and be able to help our team win.
So we're taking on Marshfield this Friday at home. Slammin and I will be calling the game. Just so you know, we cannot video the game. There will be a nice little graphic. You'll just get to hear our wonderful voices, but we will be up there if you can't make it. But I expect everyone in town will be at the game.
It's not going to be that cold.
I don't know what it's supposed to. Is it
50?
Yeah, that's great. That's good football weather.
Yeah, great football weather.
So, exciting time. I mean, we're in districts. It's it's win or go home. And exciting time for us. Coach, how's the team feeling right now about this week?
I think we're excited to get to play again, and like I said, I recognize something different in this group, and I fully expect I will be shocked if we're not ready to play Friday night from the opening kickoff.
So, Coach, how from a coaching side of things, how do you keep these guys? We're out of school on Friday, and I assume that that's probably not just us, but I guess walk us through kind of what you guys are going to be doing and how we keep these guys focused.
Yeah, so the next 48 hours are pretty odd for us. We get out of school at 11:20 tomorrow, and we'll have practice at 12:30, and then we'll have team dinner at 3:00 or 3:30, and so that's an odd deal. That's adversity that you're dealing with, and then we turn around and we don't have school on Friday, and our seniors have organized. They're going to bring some guys up to the locker room and have a breakfast up there and get together, and then we've got our walkthrough starting at 4 in our team meal like we always do. But this is a moment for leadership on our team, and we're gonna put it in their hands on Friday, and they're gonna have our guys ready to play. But yeah, I mean, it's an odd schedule. It just happened to work out. It's parent-teacher conference week, and out of school before noon on Thursday, and then you don't see them again until 4 on Friday. And but I'm not overly concerned because I tried to stress it. We've got a personality and a group of leadership right now that is very eager to go out and prove themselves Friday night.
So we're going to be out there tailgating around 4. We'll be there all day, till the game. I'm excited. I encourage you. I mean, I've been so proud of our community this year. We went to the volleyball game last year, and they beat Willard, and it was packed. It was loud. You saw a ton of the football players and other team players out there. The student section was amazing. I encourage you Friday night. Let's pack out our house. Marshville's not that far away. They're going to bring a ton of fans. But I think we need to be there. JJ said it on the show the other night. He said when you hear the band, the palms, the cheerleaders in the crowd, there's nothing like playing in that environment. So we'll have trunk or treating at the tailgate. Slamon's already got his costume. I posted it the other day of, what you'll be wearing for your costume. At the tailgate.
Richard Simmons.
You're Richard Simmons. So it'll be a fun environment. Come out at 4. We're going to make some food. I don't know what we're making, but we're making some food. We're going to have trunk or treat, and then get out to cheer on our football players there at 7:00. Tomorrow night it's Wednesday, right? Yeah. Tomorrow night we've got a big semifinal game for volleyball?
Not sure what they call that.
Quarterfinal.
I bet it's semifinal.
Sectional. Okay.
Sectional game, I think.
Against Web City. Yeah. So that'll be a big game at 6:30. So
see, and that's a home game, right?
That's a home game.
So what an opportunity to get out and for our football players to be out there, getting excited about that. That's awesome.
Big Boss Lady says sectional. So
sectional. I'm sorry.
So yeah, excited. I mean, man, this is that time of year. It's just exciting. Not that the other times weren't, but it's win or go home. Every game matters. So.
Right. You see all that hard work coming together, and it's nice.
Anything you want to leave us with, Coach?
No, it's just a fun time of year for athletics, and we're excited to support everybody and see all of our Wildcats win. And volleyball's they set the tone last night for the week, and they're going to get it done again tomorrow night, and then we'll be ready to go on Friday.
Yeah, and soccer's playing out of this world right now. Man, we've got a team, and so they start districts. I think they got another regular season game this week, and then we'll start districts after that, I believe. So
yeah, they've got a late district this year.
They do.
Seems like.
Yep.
And not to forget, I know our softball girls are done, but those girls, those seniors, I think they were the winningest group of girls in Rogersville Wildcat history to come through, and of course, good work to those girls.
Sorry,
was that you?
Yeah,
I was like, look at
notifications on.
Amazing, amazing group of athletes there. One more last question for you, Coach. Texas or Baylor? Who's going to win?
I'm going to go with Baylor on this one. It's I've got a guy I played high school football with that's coaching on that staff, and man, they're doing some special things. They're fun team to watch. So I'm Baylor all the way. I mean, I think through Texas and through Oklahoma.
Oh, come on.
So we'll see, though.
Come on, Coach. Hey, I got Baylor by 3 this weekend. And Coach was telling me before the show started that he has OU as the national champion this year. So, anyways, we thank you for joining us live. Coach, we appreciate you doing these shows, man. We'll be out there rooting for you Friday night.
Thanks.
All right, go Cats.